Catalyst.io.
Hey, welcome to the Speak for Yourself podcast. This is the very first episode. My name is Casey Denton, and I will be your host. And we are so glad that you're here. We have a good show for you today, and we have a guest that I'm about to bring in. Let's see if we can get him in here.
You just lied to these people on your very first episode.
There he is.
That this
What'd I
is
say?
a good show. There's no chance this is going to be a good show. Don't
No,
start
terrible show.
lying to these folks.
Well, how's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I spent the week drinking too much coffee and staying up late, doing a lot of the things that I used to hate, that type of thing.
Yes, love a throwback.
Mm.
For those of you that don't know, I had a very short-lived music career. Let's see. Can you hear this? Very faintly.
I wouldn't say faintly. I can hear it in the background.
Okay. Is it loud?
Yeah.
We don't want it to be too loud. Let's do that. That should be better. A little background music, set the mood. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, all right. Are we about to snuggle? Digital snuggle?
We might. Hey, so this is actually episode 1.2. Nobody knows this, but this gentleman, Cheese, and I recorded an hour's worth. I guess it was last Saturday night.
Yeah.
And his audio didn't come through. His video did, but his audio didn't. So now we are running new software or new broadcasting software, and everything looks good to go.
And the same number of people saw it as if everything had worked perfectly. And that number is 0.
0. But we also didn't go live then, so that's pretty good. So we also tried to shoot last night, and you had cut your finger. How is that finger, sir?
Bad. You know what? I super glued it, and it's let's see how it shakes out. I haven't worked out yet today.
So how did it happen? You were building model tanks, is that correct?
I was building a model tank because.
Did you have an X-Acto knife that you?
Yeah, and I had just opened a brand new one, and I felt it slip, and I didn't want it to hit one of the dogs, so.
Oof.
I did the Christian thing and stuck my hand out to protect the little Christian. And
the finger lost the battle.
Yeah, my finger definitely.
It was just gushing blood.
It was, yeah. I wrapped it up in some gauze and then used a like one of those DeWalt clamps to clamp it shut until it stopped. And as soon as it stopped, I went ahead and super glued it.
Super glued that bad boy.
Yep. But like I said, I haven't worked out yet today, so that thing could.
Well, I'm with you there. I didn't know if I was going to work out during my son's nap, which is now, or after he went to bed. And whichever one of the podcaster that we didn't do is, going to be
the workout time for sure. Well, I don't have any young kids, so I'm a little more free. In fact, based on where I've got this thing posted up, it actually looks like I might be filming this from a mental institution, including the fact that I'm wearing a luchador mask. So
yeah, let's talk about that. So your name is Cheese on here, but I think I'm going to call you Nacho, just for the Nacho Libre references.
Okay. I feel that. Well, I've never actually seen that movie for a guy who loves.
Are you kidding me?
Not dead serious. For a guy who loves comedy and professional wrestling, and I just think luchador masks are cool.
Buddy, it's right up your alley.
No,
you're going to be wanting to call yourself Nacho after that.
No, probably not.
Our mutual third, who should be on here pretty soon, he also loves that movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. So we can't recommend it highly enough, I don't think.
All right. Well, I'll give it the old college try.
Yeah. So let's explain to the audience who may or may not be listening later why you're wearing a luchador mask.
Well, like I said, I always think that they're cool. And I'm not 100% sure that I'm super fired up about the internet having my face out there. But more importantly,
sure.
I don't know what my work likes. So I can't imagine that we'll get into anything too crazy and controversial here. We're pretty straight.
Well, it's better safe than sorry.
Yeah, for sure. Not all of us are self-employed, you son of a gun.
Yeah. We're maybe not today, but maybe we're going to get into some topics that probably won't jive well with corporate America. And if you're at a corporate job and you speak out against these things, you do run the risk of losing your job or being socially canceled, or however you want to put it.
I think I worry less about that. I mean, I think that is, if we're being fair, that is, maybe 20% of the reason. But I don't necessarily like the idea that if I say something now that is totally fine, and in 10 years, once society has collapsed, I don't want to be on somebody's get them list. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. That's pretty valid.
Yeah.
You have comedians that said things 10 years ago, and now that the culture has changed, people come after them for things that they said 10 years ago. It's ridiculous.
Well, here's what I don't want to have happen. I don't want my wife to be out of town, and for some guy not to have liked something I said on the internet, and him sneak in the back door while I'm trying to make a cocktail. And then when the police show up and I open the door, that gentleman then bashes me in the head with a hammer, and then everybody acts like that's totally normal. I don't want that.
Man, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, you know what? I don't. Who knows?
Has something like that happened recently?
I think it's very recently. Unlike Mr. Pelosi, I don't sleep in my underwear plus a button-down shirt, so that dash cam footage or body cam footage is going to look way different.
Jeez, I still don't know what to think on that.
No, I don't. There's definitely some. We'll never get the whole truth, right? No. But whatever that was,
plausible deniability is the game there.
Oh, for sure. I can't tell if Paul Pelosi might be my hero, actually, after that whole thing breaks out. If some mental patient, and this guy, regardless of what his motivations were, let's be honest, Hammer Guy is a mental patient. There's nothing on the planet that can justify sneaking into somebody's house with a hammer, right? This is pretty weird. But being calm, cool, and collective, and being like, I know the police are on the way, I better make a cocktail. It's pretty
well, it was like a full one, wasn't it? So it's really like he made it after the guy was in there.
Yep.
He's just like, hold that thought. I need to make a drink for this.
I'm a big fan of that. I am a big fan.
Yeah, it was interesting that he was completely hammered and also kept his cool. And that's assuming we're taking this story at face value.
And I think at this point, until something else comes out, I think that you almost have to take it at face value. Like it's so weird on its face. It's not like if somebody were to make it just as it is without any background, if somebody were to pitch that as a movie script, everybody would just say something to the idea of that's too unrealistic. We're not making this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think we have to take it as what we see is what you get.
It was interesting watching that story develop because they withheld so much information and body cam footage from the get-go, and it kind of allowed theories just to run rampant. And I think that's also kind of like part of the game, you know?
Oh, I think that whoever they are, however you define they, the media, the powerful, the rich, whatever, benefit just as much as from the truth or the lie as they do the theories that people come up with around it, right? Like, the truth will be powerful. Whatever lie that they can get to stick will be powerful. But then every one of those lies or theories that comes up in the wake of it is just as important to the zeitgeist. And I hate that I just used that word in a coherent sentence. But you run into these. Look at the Kennedy assassination or 9/11, or even to a certain extent the pandemic. I think that the truth is going to be one thing and probably pretty damn boring, right? But I think that the government loves the idea that people think that it's as powerful as it is, right? When you look at something like the Kennedy assassination, or you look at faking the moon landing, or or 9/11, you're thinking about these things as some extremely powerful people cooked this up and made it happen. But when was the last time we successfully hoodwinked anybody in this country? Like we knew that SCOTUS was gonna squash Roe v. Wade 3 months before it happened. Like not only would those things in this case,
they never did find that leaker, did they?
No, and they never will because they're not actually looking for them.
Yeah, correct.
In fact, part of me thinks whoever's the team looking for them has just as much chance of being the leaker as the people they're investigating, right? It's like that meme. Every time you see a officer involved incident, there's a picture of the guy from The Simpsons, the chief from The Simpsons, and it says, "We've investigated ourselves and cleared us of all wrongdoing." I mean, please, that's just what it is. And I think that the government, certain people within the government love the idea that we are so scared of them that we think that they could pull off that type of nonsense.
Yeah, and I think they're also in the business of letting, conspiracy theorists, for lack of a better term, put their own foot in their mouth.
Oh yeah.
So they purposefully withhold information that they may have and just let the theories run rampant, because it also discredits those people and makes them look bad. And so whenever they do get something right, people are less likely to believe it, even if it is true, because they've already,
Or worst case scenario, you have to sue somebody, or there is a lawsuit of somebody, like we saw with Alex Jones, who I don't particularly care for. I definitely think he should be allowed to say what he wants to say. I'm not a huge, the stuff that he does, that he specifically does with the intention of being funny and being satirical, I'm like, all right, I can get that. That's funny. But the 90% of his stuff is just a bridge too far for me. But regardless of whether or not he was guilty or innocent or whatever, you are not going to find anybody in the country who didn't already either hate or love that guy. And it seems to be split right down the middle. And you wouldn't even have to ask about Alex Jones when you're trying to seat a jury. I think you could ask something like, what's your opinion on vaccines? What's your opinion on masks? What's your opinion on freedom of speech? And the people who respond one way are going to lean towards a political party that likes Alex Jones, and the people who respond one way are going to against it. So they let him run rampant for 22 years, and now that they really need to shut him up, it was pretty easy.
Yeah, I don't super want to get on him, but it was interesting that they awarded him an amount of money that was like more than like the GDP of most countries. It was ridiculous how much it was.
Yeah, no, and
I can't even think of the figure off the top of my head, but
I've been off his bandwagon for quite a while. I think the last time I saw anything from him, he was on, I think he was on Rogan, and he was being just about as mental as you could possibly be without being certifiable. And
and he hasn't been on Rogan in a while, so that was years ago.
Sure. And to be fair, I haven't really watched Rogan in a while. You'll see something on YouTube and you'll be like, oh, that looks interesting.
Yeah, I do catch Rogan every once in a while. I don't watch Alex Jones, but I just hear through the grapevine or the Twitter sphere of what he's doing or what's going on with them.
Sure. And 2.5 hours for any kind of a podcast is a slog, and that's about the bare minimum you're going to get out of a Rogan show, right? He's doing like the mega, and hey, look, that's great format. When I was in college and there was 3 hours in between classes and I didn't necessarily want to drive home, it was great, right? But I've also grown up a lot since then too, so I'm like, all right, I get it. So, no beef on Rogan though. He just seems like a nice guy. I'm not one of these people who are anti him. Again,
sure.
You should be able to get up there and say whatever you want.
Well, I think long form conversation and long form media is kind of fixing some of the problem.
Sure.
Because with regular legacy media and all this like clickbaity stuff, you had 30-second clips and then you had 30 seconds of commentary on it, and that was it. You didn't really get any nuance. You got things along the party line.
And I think we actually covered this on our failed first attempt at a podcast. But media, specifically the news, has become like the pop music of our generation, right? It's instead of Britney Spears or New Kids on the Block or even the Beatles making something that entertains you enough to wait through the next soap commercial on the radio, you are having the same effect. Somebody's going to say something just irritating enough that you're going to want to watch through the commercial break and see daytime catheter commercials, because that's what's on news media, so that you can come back and hear some other idiot say something. And the problem is and I just did it myself. I referred to them as idiots, but you and I both know those people aren't idiots. You and I both know those people are playing the long game, because we're watching. People are watching. They're getting paid for it. If you think that that's their opinion, or that they only have a 3-minute view of the world, you're pretty crazy. And at the end of every show, which they're on, they get their plugs. Oh, hey, if you liked that 3-minute thing I just said, don't forget to buy my book. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast. So really, it is becoming a filler for commercials, and not the other way around. And don't get me wrong, we're heading that way too. If you think for 1 second that if you have a successful podcast in a year, if Tide and I don't know, shit, I'm looking around my room for stuff, Nike wants to advertise on your show, you'd be rolling over so fast to read those reads, it's not even funny. So I get it.
That would be something, hearing me read ad reads.
Oh, sometimes I don't even know if you can read. So so I get it, but it's still a problem.
Hey, we have a comment from a viewer already. Let's see if we can display that.
Oh, this is gonna be amazing. Is it you?
Oh, it's our boy.
Oh, all right.
E. Molina.
There you go. We got one.
Thanks, E. Love you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm indifferent to you, leaning towards love. But
well, let's go to our first story. I'm gonna let you pick your poison. So we have two things. We have the air balloon, and then we also have the pistol braces.
Oh, I'm in love with the air balloon, but I mean, guns are my thing. So I feel like we have to hit both, but I am in love with this air balloon story.
Well, let's start there, because that's kind of the hot story of the week.
This might be my favorite thing to ever happen. This is the biggest.
Well, hold on.
Oh, she's so
let's see.
Done.
I go to. That it? Yeah.
Oh, this is good. They like silence on podcasts, buddies. Oh, perfect. There you go.
There we go. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That is.
So let's.
7 days too late.
Yeah, let's recap this for people who may not be familiar with the story.
Nobody's not. No. I want to do this. If you're not familiar with the story, one, nobody's watching. But if you're not familiar with the story, please stop watching, because I don't want you to be somebody who interacts with us. If you have no idea what this is, turn off the TV, unsubscribe, go away.
That's all right, though. That's what we're here for, to kind of inform people of what they might be missing. But this one's pretty hard to miss. This is a national news story. So I don't even know how many days ago this happened, or when it started breaking the news. Maybe Thursday or Friday, Wednesday, something like that. But anyway, there was an air balloon over Montana. Was the first that I had heard of it, and I think farmers spotted it, or ranchers. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah,
they're the first people to publicize it. I'm sure other people have spotted it, and you're driving me nuts with the pace that you're reading this. It turned out to be a Chinese spy balloon.
Allegedly with a
little thingy under it. And here we go back to conspiracy theories. People have been talking about Chinese spy balloons on Twitter for like a year. So it is interesting to see this one play out right in front of us. But what I find irritating is you come to find out that they've been tracking it since before it got even over American soil. And that is super, super frustrating, especially if they're going to say we can't shoot it down because we're worried that it's going to impact the ground. Look,
and I'm going to stop you there. The funny thing about that statement is when they said that, allegedly it was over Montana. There is dick all in Montana. It might fall and hit a bison.
Yes. And, I feel like, part of me, and this is just going off the top of my head, I have to imagine that the coast of South Carolina has more recreational boaters that could be hit than actual people in Montana. You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
and think about how much stuff we launch all the time. We have planes taking off from major metropolitan areas. We launch rocket ships. We launch satellites. Elon Musk's thing is happening. We clearly don't care about the risk of something falling down on people all day long, right? So, yeah. And I'm a little weirded out that we didn't have something in play to catch that, right? Like,
well, I refuse to think that the United States government did not catch this until it was over Montana.
oh, of course not. They absolutely
right. They're tracking it the whole time.
And part of me wonders if maybe there's some sort of counter intel. Again, we'll never know anything, and the truth is always super boring. Maybe that really.
Honestly, it could be a CIA and not Chinese.
I mean, sure, maybe, but I think the CIA has the damned common courtesy to spy on us from outer space.
Well, you'd think so.
Yeah. And monitoring people's phone calls and things like that. Like,
So for those of you that don't know, this balloon, they let it go over the continental United States all the way over to the Carolinas, where it got shot over, like, what was it, Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, something like that, which again is way more populated than Montana.
Yeah. And apparently in Montana, there's an Air Force base where a bunch of missile silos are. So, I mean, it makes sense that it would go over there if it was Chinese, or if we're being led to believe it was Chinese.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what to think of this, because you have a couple of things that could be being measured by the Chinese, if it is in fact Chinese. One is our political response to it, and another is like the military response, as in, are they going to shoot it down immediately? How far is this going to get in before they take action? Will they even have the political willpower to take action? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, part of me wonders if we weren't able to grab. First of all, there's a chance, obviously, that thing up there is a dummy, right? That balloon, like you said, is just to see what we're going to do, and it's not going to be distributing any information back to China.
Yeah.
But that is definitely an interesting thought. But let's say it is. Let's just say it's transmitting data as it. If you think we're not grabbing that data, like, maybe there was debate. I would like to give the government, as much as I hate to do this, I would like to give the government the benefit of the doubt and say maybe there was something to learn watching it take its path.
I mean, if you believe in the sovereignty of our government, or not the sovereignty, but the legitimacy of it, you would think that if you're not inclined to believe that, then, you can draw some other conclusions.
I still think that we could have had a way to capture that as opposed to just shoot it down. And part of me wonders if they're not shooting it down over the ocean so that it's harder to recover the pieces.
See, I was thinking the opposite. I thought it'd be easier to recover the, that thing that was hanging down below the balloon. I thought it'd be easier to recover it in the ocean, or maybe it's like a softer landing, something like that.
Oh, maybe it's not as, maybe, who knows? But then you got to deal with sharks, bro. Come on.
Yeah, you don't want to fuck with sharks.
No. Or that gentleman from the newest Black Panther movie. He lives down there somewhere.
Is that Jordan? What's his name?
Mm-hmm.
Michael B. Jordan.
No. The newest Black Panther one where they're fighting the dudes from underwater.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, good. Super good, man. I really like that one.
The first one's my favorite Marvel movie, hands down.
Really?
Yep.
The first Black Panther was your favorite Marvel movie?
Yep.
Okay.
I know that's might be unpopular with stuff like Endgame out there, but
yeah, I liked it, but I felt like they wrote it as filler, and I think that the character was cool enough to where they could have done more with it, right? Like, so some of my coworkers are not huge Marvel fans. They catch the big ones, right? And of course, Marvel goes out of their way to market them as they're all going to be big ones.
Yeah.
But basically, they just do the Avenger ones. And for the most part, they can follow along, even though they don't do the subsequent films. We all went out to watch Black Panther, the first one, and most of them were lost. They were like, "No, who's this dude?" And how, you know what I mean? So, I thought it was good, and I enjoyed it, but I do understand some of the people who didn't.
Are you more of a Marvel or a DC guy?
For the books?
Or either?
I'm probably more of a Marvel guy for the books. You know what? I'm actually probably a Marvel guy for both.
Are you talking about books or comic books?
Comic books, yeah, for
Okay.
sure. I go back and forth, and I think right now DC probably has the leg up. I gotta be honest with you, all printed material for the big two comic books pretty terrible right now.
Yeah.
Movies wise, Marvel is just blowing it out of the water. I'm pretty impressed with those. You know, and I get where some people like to say that it's not cinema, right? It really is the same formula. But God Almighty, is that not entertaining?
I don't really follow comic books, but I hear they're going woke. Is that your experience with them?
I mean, they've always been woke.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I learned about AIDS and civil rights and a lot of that stuff. The things that drove me to history, really in general, to do a little bit more research and kind of see were comic books, right?
Cool.
You know, and yeah, I guess that would make them a little bit more woke, but I mean, it should not surprise anybody that the artistic side leans a little bit more left.
Sure.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Marvel or DC movie?
Oh, movie? I really like the Captain Americas. Really.
Okay. Yeah.
Really, really dig those. Book wise, I really liked Daredevil.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Did you like the TV adaptation?
I did.
On Netflix,
It took me a while to get over the fact that he was not a redhead. But I'll tell you what I'm reading right now is it's not by either one, and I forget who prints it, so that's awful. But it's called That Texas Blood, and it's based on That Texas Blood. It is a comic book about a older sheriff who's getting ready to hang it up. He's kind of telling off some of his stories throughout his career to like his wife and his person who's going to take his place. It's tremendous. I really like it.
Cool.
Both the author and the artist are Texans, so you do see a lot of stuff where you're like, oh yeah, for sure. So
you recognize, yeah,
I really like it.
Yeah, we're both from Texas, so that's what he's referring to.
Yes, absolutely.
Actually, I didn't know if you were born in Texas.
No, I was not. I was born in Connecticut, believe it or not. But
really?
I got down here as fast as I could. And people like that.
Oh man, so mine is the Dark Knight trilogy, and then Man of Steel.
Yeah, Man of Steel was okay. I do like that they finally were like, hey, even if you save the world, you might lose a city.
Yeah.
Dark Knight was tremendous. I do have a buddy who can't stand the way it ended, and I wanted to make fun of him, but he's got a really good point. Batman.
Which part? The Robin thing?
Do what?
Is he talking about the Robin?
No, he talks about how Batman is a master of his own environment. He owns the night, yada, yada, yada. His suit is all black, and he decided to wear an all black suit during the day to fight in the snow.
Eric rated Dark Knight Rises a solid 4 out of 8.
Well, he had to get somebody else to type that for him because he's not smart enough to put that sentence together.
Well, who rates something out of a 1 through 8? Usually 1 through 5 or 1 through 10.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to get a rise out of me.
I think he is too.
Just because he knows I really like that one.
No, it was super enjoyable. I really liked it.
I liked it because I like Bane.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely have a little bit of a crush.
Yep. Tom Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, let's bring up this firearms policy.
Oh, buddy.
Here we go. Let's see. Let's get it up here. Not that one. This one right here. All right. So I'm going to let you take the lead on this one.
So essentially, anything that is below the legal length of a barrel, 16 inches, has to be classified as a short-barreled rifle. And there is a process that you have to go through in order to legally own one of those. It was regulated under the National Firearms Act. It's very old. It is permissive. If you want to get one, you are assumed that if you can legally purchase a weapon, you will pass your background check to be able to legally own a short-barreled rifle or short-barreled shotgun or a destructive device or any other weapon. Basically, those are the categories. There is a tax stamp involved, which I know that drives a lot of people insane, especially if they're dumb enough to put a "Don't Tread on Me" flag behind them on a podcast. The extra tax really drives them crazy. But there is a little bit of a wait process if you wanted to use to get a small barreled rifle, a short barreled rifle. I've done it. It is a huge pain. It's time consuming and there's a lot of hoops to jump through. And I've never known anybody who's been disqualified for, you can't own this because we don't think you can own this gun. Everybody I know who has ever been disqualified has been something like your ID expired in the waiting period it took for us to run your background check, your fingerprint for your left pinky is smudged, stuff like that. So
no, that's super annoying.
It is super annoying. They refund your money and you can resubmit, but then you start my last one came through exactly on 99 days.
Yeah, and you start that whole cycle over of waiting.
Yeah, you do. And now there's definitely a secondary wait on that. Now I handle these things a little bit differently. I waited until all the paperwork was done and my gun was stamped to actually assemble it, right? So It really sat there as a pistol until the paperwork came through, and then I ordered the parts. So not only did I wait 90 days for the process, but another 30 or 40 days for all of the rest of the stuff to come in, okay?
Hey, so for the audience, why don't you differentiate short-barreled rifles and braced pistols or pistol braces?
Well, that's what I'm going at. So there was something that came out in the early 2000s where you can have what is essentially an AR-15 pistol. That is an AR-15. I've seen some that are other platforms, but that's the big driver because let's be honest, the most commonly purchased gun in this country is the AR-15. This started as something to help disabled shooters fire, right? You might not be able to shoulder a weapon or you might not be able to hold a pistol at full force. So it looks like a buttstock, but at the end, what it does is it has a little attachment that goes around your forearm. It allows you to hold it. I've never liked them, right? I think that they're great for the people who are disabled and who need them. But for me, first of all, I'm not a big AR-15 guy in the first place, as you know. So I've never really had a rifle that I thought would benefit from it. But did you just boom my weapons choices?
Yep.
Ugh. But
although I do know what you own, and I do approve of that.
You know a fraction of what I own, so shut your mouth. So anyway, if you have that pistol brace, it doesn't count as a rifle. It still counts as a pistol. Well, the ATF several times over the years have said that those were perfectly legal. You're not breaking the law by using them. It even got to the point where the ATF said, dude, if you guys want to shoulder those things, you absolutely can. And then all of a sudden, they told us, hey, you have 120 days to register those things. We are retroactively calling them short-barreled rifles, and we are retroactively forcing you to register them. Uncle Sam was kind enough to say, hey, if you register these things within 120 days, we are not going to charge you that tax stamp. But we want to see a picture of it.
How kind of them.
Oh, how kind of them. It really bugs me. I think that there's something like 14 million of these in the country right now. And those are ones that were sold as braced pistols, not necessarily counting people who have made them later because they were told that they could. This would be the same in my mind if this is as ubiquitous as if the government came along and said, on May 18th, ibuprofen is illegal. And if you are in possession of ibuprofen, you are in trouble. Now, I need to be 100% clear here. I think pistol braces being used by people who are not in needs of them is really dumb. I really don't like them. They bug me. They're uncomfortable. I've shot them before. I just don't care for them. But I'm also coming from a position to where I can afford to do the tax stamp and I have time to do the paperwork when I want a short barrel or rifle, right? And I do understand that the government's point is you were using these as a workaround to make a short barreled rifle. Yeah, that's probably true. That's 100% true in most cases. The problem is it's not should not be the government's business as to what I own in terms of weaponry. especially if they've already claimed that they are perfectly legal and need no extra step. I feel the same way about bump stocks. I think bump stocks are stupid too. That being said, if you think that you need a bump stock to be safe and to protect yourself and your family from whatever you are afraid of, you should have the right to do that.
While we're on bump stocks, let's remind some people or inform some people who banned bump stocks.
The ATF banned bump stocks.
Under who?
Oh, it was under Trump. That's something else we're going to get at here. Is there is no pro-gun? There is no longer a pro-gun party. I'll pull the wool over people, or I will unfleece people. I'm a Democrat, and I've been a Democrat for as long as I can remember. And I am more pro-gun than most people I know. And some of the people who I know who are the biggest floods on the planet are Republican idiots. So there is no one party with a claim to the Second Amendment. It belongs to all of us. And if we don't all defend it, we're all going to give it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It is important to say that they've overturned that bump stock ban. I could almost understand. I wouldn't like it, and I still think that it would need to be challenged. But I could almost understand if maybe Congress came together and made some of these changes. But the ATF has no legal authority to make rules, to make laws, right?
Yeah.
They are governed. No more than the police can decide that they don't like the type of music you like and arrest you for it. It's the exact same thing. And it bugs me. It bugs me.
So what do you make of this? Is this just another example of eating the elephant in many bites? You know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And look at it. You know, we're going to tangle into your favorite topic. Look at abortion. I know you are pro-life, and I know that you don't believe in the right to choose, and that's totally fine. And that's not what I'm getting at here. But abortion people always say, you know, it's a slippery slope to banning, right? Well, we didn't start out by banning abortion. We didn't start out by taking away 100% the right to choose. We started by saying, oh, okay, well, now you've got, you know, the first three, by putting a time limit on it. This is absolutely the same thing. There is a slippery slope, and it always leads to the loss of rights as opposed to the gaining of rights. Now, the bump stock ban didn't last. It's been overturned. Funny statistic, of all the bump stocks that were in the country, they were given the option to register them. Something like only 120 were registered. So people pretty roundly told them to not. But no, it does bug me. It's going to continue to be a problem. People act like if we overturn this one, it's just going to go away. It's not. There'll be something else that they try to shove down our throats. And I don't like that it puts me in a position to defend things that I think are stupid, right? Like, I don't think about, like, of all the stuff that you could spend money on, a bump stock should be like the last. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's inaccurate. So yeah. I don't know why you'd want one in the first place, but
yeah.
Just to make cool YouTube videos, I guess.
Yeah, you know, I really can't. That's exactly what it boils down to, right? And the big push to ban those is because that mental patient, talk about conspiracy theories, who did that shooting at the Las Vegas country music thing, was pretty heavy on the bump stocks. But again,
man, you can go down a rabbit hole.
That guy.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to think of something that is. I can't think of any time other than that I had heard the word bump stock on TV. I don't.
And yeah, that was the first and only time that I've ever heard of it.
I don't remember they've been around for as long as I've been into guns, and I don't remember hearing another crime being committed with a bump stock. So just because this one guy, you know, did something dumb and evil, we got to ban the rest of it. We got to ban him for everybody. So yeah. I don't know, man.
And the funny thing is, if you know the technique, you can still emulate that same thing with an AR-15.
Oh, at 100%.
But it's hip fire, first off. Is it hip? Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, you gotta have it down, I think.
I guess technically, if you had a strap somewhere else, you probably could. I'm
sure.
Yeah.
But either way that you do it, wildly inaccurate.
Yeah.
So there, you know. No point in it unless you're just trying to be cool or make a cool video, sort of thing.
Yeah. So no, I think that this country behooves the ruling party in this country, and by that I mean politicians in general, not a political
oligarchs.
Party. Oligarchs for sure. They want the Second Amendment gone. They want the right to defend yourself to be gone.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So,
and you see that in blue states a whole lot. It's probably been 9 months or something around there where in New York City or New York State, I think it's city, you had a guy that had a bodega and he's defending against someone else and he killed the aggressor.
Yeah.
And then they threw him in jail for a while until public outrage was so much that they just couldn't ignore it anymore.
And there was no opportunity for that guy to retreat, right?
No.
Like there is no. First, I think there's one person watching. So, sir, thank you for watching. But here's the best thing you can do if you are serious about defending yourself and you're protecting yourself. Walk away.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Get away from anything that can be a problem. A break in contact is what you need to survive 95% of the time. And I just made that statistics up so you know it's true. Like the
works 100% of the time, 60% of the time. Yeah. What is that quote?
There was zero chance for that old man to leave, right? Mm-hmm. And oh God, that was awful. I would hate to be in a situation where he was literally kill or be killed. And boy, he found out when he was.
Did not do him any favors after that.
Oh, of course not. But and it's bothersome. Like, yeah, I really have an issue with that.
I think it's in New Jersey was the state that was being used as an example, but they don't have the castle doctrine. So if someone was to break into your house, you can't stand your ground and defend your home. You literally have to leave.
Yeah. I know that there's a couple of those. I know somebody who had a defensive shoot in a state that didn't have either, right? Not a duty to retreat, but didn't have the castle doctrine. And this was a good shoot. It was a good shoot, but it was borderline, right? They were like, "Hey, we still have to do due process here." The person was found innocent, but still cost them like $65,000 in legal. Actually, I don't even think it went. I think they just did. I think he just had to get a lawyer and do a whole lot of legal mumbo jumbo before they were like, "Oh, okay, we're not actually going to go forward with trial." Now that I think about it. And when I say I know this person, it is so tangential. It's like worked in an office with a guy who worked in an office with a guy who was. So I met him once. So
I wonder in that case if the state has to pay your legal fees if they cost you that amount of money up into that point, but then don't take it to trial.
Unless you're Ukraine, the federal government is not in the business of handing out.
So, yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah. So no, I have. Well, I think I just said federal government. Obviously, a case in the state is not a federal case, but my point remains the same. Even less money for them to hand out. So no, I would have to.
Well, let's move on to a new story. Let's see here. I'm going to do a funny one.
Okay. Well, how about you just tell the story, and if it's funny, I'll let you know.
Hold on. Here we go. Well, I don't know where that one went, but we're going to go with
this.
All
right. Well, that was hilarious. Oh, here we go. What do we got?
Look at this. Keep brain-dead women alive and use them as surrogate mothers, suggest doctors. Have you heard anything more dystopian than that?
No. Well, yeah, but not in real life. Dude, that's legendary. I feel like doctors be in quotation marks.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's like the original Matrix scene where he finally gets unplugged and he looks around and he's just one of many like thousands of pods.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is nightmarish. And I haven't seen anybody in support of this. It's all,
mental patient doctors.
Yeah.
I believe Dr. Gazelle and Joseph Mengele are the two doctors who are deep cut on that one.
Oh man, let's see if I got another one right here. I thought this one was interesting. So, government making a dairy farm in southern Ontario dump 30,000 liters of milk because they've gone over quota. So, we're going to be starting kind of a series that we keep up with here called The War on Food. And I think this is just the latest of government overreach.
Why has everything got to be a war on something? Boo! Your names. Boo!
Lack of a better term.
Oof.
Yeah, so what do you think about this?
I mean, I think any country that uses liters to measure milk is inconsequential. They're America's hat, and they should shut up.
Fair enough, my man.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else we got.
Milk comes in a gallon, a half gallon, and a pint. And if you don't like that, you should have. You know what? I don't even have anything funny or cohesive to say. That stinks and it bugs me.
All right, here's another one.
What we got here?
So this one's a little bit older because I think we might have talked about it on the last attempt to podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so there's a chicken farm where 100,000 hens died in the fire. And that's on top of eggs already being hard to come by and overpriced.
The life expectancy of a hen anyway.
I don't know, but how many eggs are we missing due to those 100,000?
Okay, so you're going from the egg perspective, but not necessarily we could have eaten some delicious chickens.
Yep.
Got it. Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, because the egg thing's kind of been going on for a month or two.
That being said, I've got 10 dozen eggs in my fridge right now because I'm a very wealthy man.
Must be nice, Bubba.
Yeah.
Having those omelets for breakfast.
Mm-hmm. You ain't playing.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna end on that one. I have a child that's waking up from a nap, so we need to tend to him. Know what I mean?
I didn't know you were a single father. That's weird.
Nope. Definitely married.
Oh, that's interesting. Sounds like you got 12 more minutes then.
12 more minutes. No, he's crying. I gotta go, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on, and I hope that you will be a regular, if not a co-host, and we will continue this.
Oh, for sure. And I gotta be honest with you, the mask is fairly uncomfortable, so I'm not 100% sure how long.
Yeah, but you're
thought it was cool.
Sweating in that.
All right, buddy. Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
Later, bud.